I never thought a sentence spoken so gently could hurt this much. She didn't shout. She didn't accuse me. She didn't even sound angry. She just stood near the kitchen door, her hands folded, her voice low and careful, and said, "Amy, maybe it's better if you stay somewhere else for some time." For a moment, I didn't understand her words. They floated in the air between us, light but sharp like glass dust. I looked at her face, waiting for a smile, waiting for her to laugh and say she was joking. She didn't. I turned toward my son. He was sitting on the sofa, scrolling through his phone, pretending not to hear us. That silence, his silence, hurts more than her words. That was the moment I realized something had changed forever. I am the mother of one son. When people hear that, they often smile and say, "You must be very close." And yes, once we were. My husband passed away when my son was still young. From that day on, my life became small but heavy. Everything I did for him. Every prayer, every stitched button, every skipped meal, I told myself it was all worth it. I never complained, not when my hands hurt from stitching late into the night, not when I sold my bangles to pay his school fees, not when loneliness sat beside me after my husband's death. I believed that one day my son would grow up and say, "Amy, rest now, I am here." When he got married, I was happy. Truly happy. I welcomed his wife like my own daughter. I cooked her favorite meals after asking my son quietly what she liked. I changed my routine so she wouldn't feel uncomfortable. I spoke less, laughed softly, and stayed out of their way. I wanted peace in the house. I wanted love. At first, she was polite, not warm, but respectful. She called me Amy, but her eyes never stayed on me for long. I told myself she was shy. New house, new people, it takes time, echo. I gave her time. Slowly, I started noticing the changes. My son stopped sitting with me in the evenings. He said he was tired. He said work was stressful. He said couples need time together. I nodded. I stopped asking him questions because his answers became shorter. I stopped telling him stories because he looked distracted. I stopped sharing my worries because he looked uncomfortable. The house became quieter for me. She began reorganizing things. The kitchen shelves changed. My spices were moved. My cup disappeared. She said it was easier this way. I agreed. Then came the sentences that sounded kind but felt cold. "You don't need to cook daily, Amy. You should rest more. You've done enough." They sounded like care, but they felt like distance. I started eating alone in my room. I started praying quietly, careful not to make noise. I learned to walk softly in my own house. Still, I said nothing. A mother learns early that silence keeps families together. That morning, the day she told me to leave, I woke up before dawn. Old habits don't change easily. I made tea, warmed the bread, and waited at the table. No one came. I heard laughter from their room. Their door was closed. I stared at the steam rising from my cup until it disappeared. Later, she called me into the kitchen. She chose her words carefully. She said the house felt crowded. She said they needed space. She said my son agreed. That word agreed cut deep. I looked at him again. He didn't meet my eyes. I felt something break inside my chest, quietly like a string snapping. But I didn't cry. I smiled. "Of course," I said, "whatever makes you both comfortable." She looked relieved. That hurt more than anything. I packed my clothes in one suitcase. I folded everything neatly, as if I was preparing for a short trip. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay. I walked through the house slowly. I touched the doorframe where my son's height was once marked. I looked at the kitchen where I had cooked for years. I stood near the window where my husband used to sit. I left my prayer mat folded on the shelf. I left my husband's photo on the wall. I left the keys on the table. No one stopped me. The door closed softly behind me. No one came running after me. I went to my sister's house. She welcomed me with kindness, but I felt like a guest who had overstayed before even unpacking. I cleaned her kitchen, folded her clothes, and stayed out of the way. At night, I cried silently. Not loudly, not angrily. Just tears slipping into my pillow. Asking questions no one would answer. Did I interfere too much? Did I stay too long? Was I wrong to believe this house was mine too? I replayed every conversation in my head. Every word I said, every silence I kept. And slowly, painfully, I understood something. I had built my entire life around my son, but he had built a new one without me. Days turned into months. Festivals came and went. I sent gifts quietly. Without names, I didn't want to remind them of my absence. I didn't want to be a problem again. No calls came. Some nights I held my phone and wondered if I should call. But pride stopped me, fear stopped me. I didn't want to beg for a place I once had naturally. Then one evening, my phone rang. It was my son. His voice sounded different, older, tired. Amy, are you okay? That question carried months of distance. I said I was fine, mothers always do. There was a long pause. Then he said, I miss you. When he came to see me, he didn't come alone. His wife was with him. She looked unsure, not confident like before. We sat quietly, tea grew cold on the table. My son spoke first. He said he had been wrong. He said he thought staying quiet would keep peace. He said he didn't realize how empty the house felt without me. He said he saw my empty room one day and felt ashamed. His wife spoke next. She didn't apologize directly. She said she felt overwhelmed. She said she didn't know how to share space with a woman who had sacrificed so much. I listened. Then I said something I had never said before. I don't want my place back, I said softly. I want respect. The room went silent. I didn't move back that day. I chose something new. I chose dignity. We meet now, slowly, carefully. I am still a mother, but I am also myself again. I laugh when I want, I speak when I need to. Some nights the memory still hurts. But I have learned something important. Love should not erase you. Sacrifice should not make you invisible. And silence should never replace respect. I was asked to leave the house, but I found myself. And that is a home no one can take away.